friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another Ask Wrestle Juice. You guys left a bunch of great questions. I always say that because it's always true. So yeah, be sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and then whenever I post up a new question thread for Ask Wrestle Juice, it'll always pop up in your notifications. At least theoretically. Don't hold me to that. I'm not legally liable for what YouTube doesn't do. Let's dive right into these questions. What's your opinion on the control your narrative rules that they put out? And is it going to fail as hard as everyone expects it to? Or will it gain some traction in today's wrestling environment? So control your narrative is a pretty interesting thing. And I'm going to say this as diplomatically as possible, because I don't really like to be negative around here. But it seems to be courting a specific type of wrestling fan. Oh man, let's take a look at these rules. It's very Fight Club sort of inspired, obviously. Let's take a look at these. Number one, it says you are in control. So these are supposed to be, this is control your narrative. It started by EC3 and like Braun Strowman. It's bringing in names like Karrion Kross and some sort of, I guess, controversial figures like Austin Aries and I think Flip Gordon. It's got a variety of other wrestlers as well, but it's sort of like a certain outspoken type, especially on social media in certain ways. And they put out these rules. They're very unabashed with what they're trying to be, I think. And they're getting quite a bit of buzz. And it might be the kind of thing where all buzz is good buzz. A lot of it is sort of mocking some of what they're doing. So they put out these rules for their matches, I guess. Number one rule and number two rule: you are in control. You are in control. Okay, but if there's two opponents in a match, who's in control? Number three, fights end when you tap out, get knocked out, can't stand, or quit. Sanctioned matches can end via pinfall. So that's fairly standard. That's just saying, hey, this is going to be wrestling matches, right? Number four, standard professional wrestling rules apply for sanctioned matches. This is an addendum to number four. Chaos ensues in the Project Pit. Now, I have not seen any of the Control Your Narrative shows. I heard good things about the first two. But then it sort of took like a left turn when it started signing certain people. And now I'm not sure if I really want to put my money in this stuff. So they also have, it doesn't mention here in the rules, but there's also a thing called a rant room where keyboard warriors can pay $100 for what just sounds like sort of an antagonistic meet and greet, where you go into a thing called a rant room. And let's say you want to do this with Austin Aries. He will sit there and just watch you yell at him, apparently. I don't know if he's permitted to yell back, but apparently you're supposed to like an airing of grievances, like a mini Festivus going on. So I don't know. Apparently one person has done it. Like they claim that one person has had the balls to step up and rant in a rant room. So that's what we're looking at here. It's sort of like I don't know. It's one of those like those sort of contrapuntal things where it's like, oh, we're all about your freedoms, but then not only on our terms, because here's the thing. Number 5 is no super kicks, no tope suicidas, the suicide dives, and no Canadian destroyers. So you are in control. You can do what you want, but you have to, as long as it stays within these guidelines, you can do. So you're not actually in control, number 1. Number 2, you're not actually in control. And number 5, you can't do these certain moves. Only moves that, like, say, Braun Strowman can do, you're allowed to do. His name is Titan now. I shouldn't refer. That's disrespectful, I think. But everybody knows him as Braun. Number 6, the fight isn't with your opponent, it is with yourself. Philosophically, I'm all right with that one. Testing your own limits. can you best another person by being the best version of yourself? I'm okay with that. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm going to give him some benefit of the doubt here at Wrestle Juice. I'm not trying to judge. I kind of do, but number 7, fights will go on as long as they have to. Sanctioned matches hit their times. Sanctioned matches hit their times. Is that like a wrestling term? Like you have to go a certain length, like your fight. So if it's a fight, so there's two things. There's fights and there's sanctioned matches. Fights will just go whatever. You can go 5 hours in a fight or 2 minutes in a fight. A sanctioned match, you got to hit your time. So there's like, they're delineating between a professional wrestling match, which is like a structured thing, and then just a fight. 8, if you want to hashtag control your narrative, you have to fight. Well, that's just directly a ripoff of Fight Club. To be in Fight Club, you got to fight. If this is your first night, you got to fight. So, you know what, man? Hey, I'm cool with the rule set. It's just it's a good promotional thing, You put it out there, you got to get your name out there somehow. And I'm sure it's, like I said, appealing to a certain type of wrestling fan. Whether or not they're going to spend their money on this to come out and support it, that's another thing. I don't know. They've got some name power behind it. Look, the rules are both silly and I think a pretty good promotional tool. Wrestling is silly. Come on now. Wrestling is silly. So why not dive into the silliness? Are they taking it too seriously? I don't know. Look, you're not going to bust out this set of silly rules if you're not self-aware to some degree. So yeah, I don't know. Is it a bunch of silliness? Yeah, maybe, but it's pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is silly. So, we'll see. We'll see how far they get. Good luck with all that, I guess. As long as you're not infringing on other people's rights. Unless they're people who want to do super kicks and Canadian destroyers. Mayor of Planet Houston says, what are some of the best conversations you've had with other wrestlers? Anything interesting you learned or any insights you gained into the business from them? So, man, I don't know. Probably AJ Styles. Me and Larson were lucky enough to interview him. And he was absolutely a delight. And then we had a really good interview, I think, with Sasha Banks as well during one of the 2K things. Those were really cool. I really like it was like a sit down, like you just got to sit down on a couch and chat with them. It was like an open rant room, except we just had a nice conversation, whatever that would be. So yeah, that was cool. That was neat. And then, we've done interviews with others. Like Colt Cabana was a really good interview. We had him on the show to talk about his podcast, but then we just talked about a bunch of other stuff. That was really cool. In terms of insight, I don't know, it's always fascinating to hear what they have to say. Like when we first talked to AJ, for example, I think I asked him if he had any regrets about not going through NXT, because at the time NXT 1.0 was really picking up steam. And he said he had no regrets. He says, I got to debut at the Royal Rumble. I had no regrets about that. I think there's probably still a lot of people who would have loved to have seen some dream matches with AJ and some people coming up, some takeover style matches. But if you want those, just go and look at his New Japan stuff. And you can get that takeover type match, because that's really what NXT 1.0 was about, was emulating that Ring of Honor, New Japan, PWG type thing, adding some strong style in there. And so, he sort of did all that. Like, he did the thing that NXT was doing, and then he went straight to main roster. But it was interesting to hear him say straight up, no, I'm WWE champion. I debuted on main roster. What do I need to go to developmental for? It was interesting to hear him be that sort of forthcoming about it. Michael Jensen, do you think there were two other wrestlers who would have had the same impact affecting as the outsiders? Or is it only as successful as it was because it was Hall and Nash? Certainly Bret Hart would have been sort of a big deal if he would have actually shown, because when that happened, he was not under contract. They were like waiting to re-sign Bret Hart. So there was some chatter about him going to WCW at the same time and him possibly being the third man. I think that would have been a pretty big impact. But in terms of Hall and Nash, I don't know, man. Nash was just WWE champion, WWF champion, 6 months to a year earlier. So he was still a pretty big deal. Scott Hall at the time was a pretty big deal. I mean, yeah, there are comparable names like Shawn Michaels, obviously. Like I said, Bret Hart. I don't think Luger was already there. Yeah, I'm not sure who else really Undertaker. If Undertaker had come over, obviously that would have been a big deal. Hall and Nash really brought the cool factor. I don't know that Undertaker would have been able to do that in the same manner. I think they were kind of the perfect guys. Let's see here. Jason Lewis, with careers lasting longer, more opportunities to work elsewhere, and the company's actions over the last couple of years turning performers off. That I don't know is actually true. Do you see WWE struggling to fill Hall of Fame spots going forward? No, not really, because I think there's a long list of wrestlers who probably are worthy of the Hall of Fame, and I think AEW would be willing to allow people to go over there for a Hall of Fame induction. I get that feeling. I don't know if I don't think it's been tested yet necessarily. It hasn't. But I think that's a possibility. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Deep Voice Dude, do you think WWE and AEW will ever go to war like the Attitude Era with AEW wanting to drive WWE out of business? No. WWE is way too big. AEW presents itself as an alternative of WWE, not trying to do what they're doing. And AEW has really deep pockets, and they're not beholden to a larger company. And WWE is its own thing too. So no, I don't think so. No, I think it's different. I don't even know why anybody in WCW would have wanted WWE to go out of business. Like that was just a different time. I think also like advertising dollars were just hard to come by back then. And now they're kind of not. Like I think the sort of advertising dollars is caught up with pro wrestling and what its value is. So maybe that had something to do with it. Some guy out of everybody on the AEW roster, who would you want to see as the first double champion? Like 2 belts at the same time, or first guy to be a 2-time champion? First double champion should be, I don't know. I feel like AEW is largely Hangman's story. I think he'd probably be double champion. Kenny Johnson, what does Veer do when he finally comes to Raw? Will they acknowledge what took him so long? I mean, they'll probably, when he shows up, they'll be like, oh my God, it's been blah, blah, blah. How many, months? What should he do? They should put him in a high profile feud. Like it's getting ridiculous and it's turned into a joke. And that's probably how they're going to treat it, by the way. Let's see here. No Haven. Do you have any wrestlers that most others loved, but just never did it for you, either in ring or on the mic? Yeah. Christian. Never really did it for me when he was a face. When he's a bad guy, I liked him. I liked him when he was with Edge. But I've never really dug him as a face. I know everybody says he's a terrific wrestler, fundamentally speaking. I can't stand the finishing move. He's probably a nice guy. I don't want to shit on the guy. I think he's funny. I thought the Edge and Christian show stuff was really funny. I think he can be really good. His sort of earnest baby face, snarky guy just doesn't do it for me. If he's a bad guy, I'd probably like him a lot more. Let's see here. Tyler Warden, what is your favorite whodunit storyline in wrestling? I think the one that was probably best executed was the Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano one. I think that was probably the best one. As far as, there's my answer. Let's see here. And we'll get one more in. I know there was one around here. I answered a bunch of these. Like in text form on the actual thread. Silly Goose Production. Who's your greatest to never win a world title? Be Scott Hall, Roddy Piper, Mr. Perfect, and probably like Rick Rude. Yeah, I think Mr. Perfect probably, if he was born like a couple of years, if he came earlier, like to me, he had all the wrestling skills of a Bret Hart, plus his mic skills and charisma was levels above Bret Hart. He should have been a world champion. He should have been like Vince McMahon's go-to guy. And then, I know Rick Rude had the WCW International title, but that kind of doesn't count. Yeah, Rick Rude had all that too. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Check out one of these other videos. I looked at the world of weird wrestling videos and thumbnails over here, so you can check that video out if you haven't already. And you can also check out the first episode of My Rise, my Steve Thunder character. Second episode is going to be coming to this channel this Sunday. And then, of course, I do that every Tuesday on the Twitch. I film a bunch of stuff over there. So check out twitch.tv/MFSteve here. But yeah, check out one of these videos. We'll see you over there. All right.